Hi, my name is Rico from Rix Magazine, and I'm being asked today a few questions about my life and what started Rix Magazine.
All right, first things first, where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in two locations. I grew up in Bronx, New York, and half of my childhood was around when I was 6 to 7 years old, and then I moved into Irvington, New Jersey, and that's when I got my skills in the streets, how to become a hustler.
A hustler? What you was hustling, man? Just kidding. What part of Irvington?
We're talking about Chancellor Avenue and Union Avenue. Those were my stomping grounds. The street I lived on was on Webster Street. Those were the good old days when I used to really run around the neighborhood and jump from one backyard to another. Those were fun. Those were some good times.
Who inspired you the most in your life?
My father was a really hard worker, and I really appreciated what he did. We had one of the nicest houses on the block. Actually, moving from the Bronx from a 2-bedroom apartment to a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house, that inspired me to kind of work really, really hard. And you know, I had to admire the old man. He really worked really hard to give us everything we needed, that we didn't have to go out there and do something bad to get it. So I got it from him. So,
what would you say is the most important thing he taught you?
Work hard, you know, appreciate life, but also respect others, you know. That's one thing I learned from him.
What made you want to start Rix Magazine?
Actually, when I closed my computer company down, actually I sold my computer company, and that's funny, I'm a little smart. I am a really good computer guy at the time when it used to come out. Everybody wanted to be a computer guru, that was me. So basically, I sold the company, I had nothing to do, and I just said, hey, let's go have some fun. And I just decided to go to a car show, my very first car show, checked it out, was like, wow, this is great. And I said, I'm gonna make something out of this. So I went back to my office, sat down, came up with a game plan, and the next thing you know, Rix was alive. But it didn't start as Rix, it started as Rising Import Explosion. That's what it started. And I ran into a person, I had the marketing strategy, had all the plans, he had the idea of doing web design, and we sat down. My company calls Rising Import, his company called Explosion, and I decided to buy the company for $1. I offered him $1. I said, give me 1 year and I'm gonna turn the company around in 1 year. He looked at me with a funny face, he accepted my $1, and he said, okay. We combined it, RIX, that was Rising Import Explosion. It was a long name. For the first three years, that was the name of it, and then I remember being in Las Vegas at SEMA, and somebody asked me, hey, what does Rix stands for? And I said, hey, out of my mind, just says, oh, it stands for Rising Import Explosion, right? And then he looked at me like, what the hell? And I just said, yeah, that's the name. But then I revamped it 2 years later, and it was called Racing Import Exotics. And that sounds better, right? So yeah, that was the name I went with. So that's what Rix stands for now. Racing, Import, and Exotics.
Was it challenging getting your magazine published?
That was a challenge, because for the first 5 years, we were an online magazine. And then I knew in order to make a big difference in the industry, in order to show people that I am very different, I told my partner, we now have to stand up and do something different. So I did a little research. I didn't even know anything about a magazine, had that one idea. And I said, I just hated people telling me, you can never do it. There's no way you can pull a magazine off. And I said, watch. So I went to New York, found a printing publishing company, sat down, made a deal with them, and the next thing you know, voila, the magazine was born. And within that first year, the magazine looked like whatever it was. I don't even know what you want to call it, but we made it happen. But as time progressed, I always saw that so many criticism and hate came out of it. It only pushed me to be better at it. And the magazine just kept getting better and better every year, like fine wine. And the next thing you know, Rix was at a platform where we were respected and appreciated by a lot of other manufacturers. So it was good. It was a good challenge, but it was a learning curve and something that I was very proud of, that I could say I did it, I was there, and I done it. You know what I want to do? I want to do boat shows, I want to do bike shows. The problem with bike shows, man, those guys could get crazy. They really could. To do a bike show, man, those guys get crazy.